My, oh my, this was a very good chapter of The Promised Neverland. So much information, so many reveals. I mean, to quickly go over it and then discuss it, we found out about a new promise. Musica obviously isn't completely attached to Seung-jo. I don't know how to completely pronounce his name, but you could see that there is kind of a divide between them in terms of how they are, what their motives are. We now know the truth about Seung-jo's religion and what he wants to hunt. We also found out about the area that they've been trying to go to. It's actually just a desert, and there's nothing there. So, I mean, there was just a lot of information in this chapter. So, to quickly dive into it, let's talk about the desert part first, because I think that's the simplest thing to talk about first before I get into the other stuff. So, at the end of the chapter, our cast of characters, they have arrived to their destination, much quicker than I thought it would be. However, the destination they arrived in, it's a desert. Just a desert, nothing around. No civilization, no buildings, nothing. There is nothing around. And for this area to be what was marked, it makes you question, what happened? Why is there nothing here? Why did William tell them to go here, but then there's nothing? And I have a couple of theories here. Number one, either the base or wherever they're trying to go is underground. It has to be underground, or there's some form of sky islands in this series. Like I said, we don't really know how everything works, because for all we know, there could be magic in this series, because we do know that there's some form of barrier or wall or something that blocks the human world away from the demon world, so we know that there's either science, magic, or something that separates everything. So we don't know if there's a potential possibility for maybe floating islands, or if it is underground. Regardless, though, we don't really know what to expect. However, another possibility is that maybe the message that William tried to send is long been gone. For instance, what if this was a potential area for the children to meet William and then get out, but since so many years have passed, maybe the area was destroyed or something. Maybe it was wiped out, or maybe he just left and it's over, it's just deserted now. I mean, that's what could potentially be happening here. But anyways, besides that though, let's talk about the big revelation. So there is another promise. Apparently there is another promise that is not the promise of just about, you know, where humans and demons, they don't interact with each other anymore and they separate the world. Apparently there's another promise, and it has something to do with what Musica mentioned to Emma. So I'm very curious to find out more information about this and exactly what makes it so different compared to the main original promise we found out about that was made 1,000 years ago. So I'm looking forward to that information. That is a new mystery that's been added to this series. So Seung-jo, he's a religious man. I've talked about it in depth of how this man's viewpoint is, and he doesn't want to hunt humans. He doesn't want to hunt our cast of characters. And as discussed, he is religious, and some religions believe in not hunting after certain meat or eating certain meat. And for instance, pork is a big one, but some religions don't want to eat pork. If they have this religion, they won't ever touch it. Regardless of how good it is, they will never touch this certain type of meat. And so Seung-jo, he is someone that is very similar to that type of religion. He is someone that doesn't want to touch human meat. However, even though he didn't necessarily lie, he kind of forgot to add a few more details to his religion. And that was, he is in a religion to where he wants to eat things that are all natural. Now, when you think of our children, the cast of characters and all of that, they seem natural. They seem like they're intelligent. They definitely were raised very differently compared to the ones that are just locked up into test tubes and stuff, or they're on pipes and stuff and they can't even move, they have no stimulation, they're in factories. Obviously, our children are completely different compared to those kids. However, what Seung-jo was trying to state is that his religion believes that everything needs to be created by God. For instance, everything needs to be created naturally. Nothing can be enclosed in a pen, and that's it. And that's still what happened to the children. Even though they were free-range, they were organically raised, they still are artificial. They are not natural children at all. I mean, the way they were raised, to their environment, everything about it was artificial, and so it's not legit. It's not a legit upbringing for a child. And so that is why he won't eat these children, or eat humans in this society right now, is because everything is unnatural. Nothing is actually wild. It's like this, okay? You ever heard the argument to where someone's like, let's take deer for an example, because that's a big thing around here in Tennessee. I love deer meat. It's great. Some will say, like, okay, I don't want to go out and buy deer meat because store-bought deer meat is not as good as if you go out and hunt it yourself and get it. And it just tastes much better. You don't have chemicals or whatever that's in it. It just tastes much better. And so that same argument could be applied to here, now with a religious tone attached to it. For instance, if you go out and hunt things, it's like you're following the natural course of life, what life was meant to be. For instance, things have to eat each other to survive, yes. However, when you go out and hunt, it's kind of like you're respecting the life of something you're hunting, and you're taking it, but you're respecting it too, because you're not just, forcing it against its will in these containers, or in a fence or whatever, and then raising them and breeding them just to eat them after they grow up to a certain age. And so that is why Seung-jo doesn't want to eat the children, is because they're not wild. They're not wild humans. They're not in their natural habitat, their society. They were forced to live in a cage. And so that is why. I like the way the direction of Seung-jo's character went. A very solid character. I mean, a very good character. And also, a lot of mysteries have been added up now thanks to his character and what he said. From what is implied here, it seems like this man used to gorge himself on human meat quite a bit. It seems like at one point in time, we don't know how long ago, but he was consistently eating humans. Now, this can be a couple of things. Either at the time when he was eating humans, he wasn't a religious man, and that is a thing that happens in our society. Many probably don't have faith, and then eventually they gain faith, and then their way of life changes. That could have been what happened to Seung-jo. Maybe he found faith, and then it changed his perspective, and he didn't want human meat anymore. Or he was always religious, and that would imply that he was around the time when the promise was first made. For instance, when the walls was put up between the worlds and all that, demon and human worlds, the wall was put up and they can no longer interact with each other. That would mean that he was still alive over 1,000 years ago. And so this is the way you could take it. Either A, demons, they have a very long lifespan, or B, Seung-jo, he was not a religious man, and then he eventually turned into a religious man over time because just he found faith. One or the other there. Now, I'm inclined to believe that he was always religious, and he actually has been around for a long time. Because if we go to the flashback and all that, when the promise was first made, we had it to where demons were hunting humans. And so it would fit in with the religion that Seung-jo has when he was talking about, the sport of it, but also hunting wild humans. So when you look at it like that, it does seem like he has been around for a very long time. But the big thing is that if he has been around for that long, how long can demons live? I mean, can they live for 1,000 years only? Can they live for indefinitely? For instance, can they live for like 5,000 years to infinite until something kills them, like a disease pops up, or if they're murdered or something? I mean, that's the question I have. I mean, it's not ever been stated, actually, in the series how long demons survive. And we can't really look at the demons as if they're exactly like humans. We already know that demons aren't humans. They're obviously a different species, because around the same time when demons and humans were in the same world, they were hurting each other, hunting each other, so they're not the same species. Now, it is implied that there's the possibility that if the demons consume human meat, or the brain, that they gain intelligence or something. That has been implied, and that can be many speculations or theories you can have for the series because of that. But the big point right now is that we already know demons are separated from humans. And if Seung-jo has already lived for 1,000 years, how long can they live? I mean, can they live for as long as they want until they die? For instance, like something kills them with a disease or something, or someone slits their throat. Is that how they could possibly die, or can they die of a natural death? I'm very, very curious. And then on top of that, too, it makes you really wonder if they really do live that long. There has to be a population problem. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, if humanity can live for thousands of years, let's just be real here, there would be a massive population problem. It'd be really bad. It would. I mean, the Earth is already showcasing some areas to where we're already having a population problem. And if you see stuff like this in this series, especially with demons, they're having a very similar society to, humankind. They have their own religions or races and, viewpoints on how or what they should eat. Then it's obvious that they have children. They have to reproduce in some way. And if they live for over thousands of years, that big part pops up like, how's their population? Their population has to be insane if they can live that long. Unless only certain intelligent demons are gifted the right to have children or something. I mean, that could be it too. Maybe, Musica, she's a very new addition to demon kind, because from what is implied is that she has never had to consume human meat, which that is the strange part. That is a very strange aspect of this chapter. It makes me believe that maybe intelligent demons aren't born from brains, which goes against what I already said in the video, yes, but, I mean, that's still a possibility. There might still be a possibility that demons gain intelligence thanks to eating humans. But at the same time, though, maybe if there's two intelligent demons that mate and reproduce, then they can make someone like Musica. Who knows? Maybe it would explain her humanoid appearance, why she looks so human. And also, we need an explanation for why demons look so different. I mean, let's compare the wild demons to, you know, someone like Musica or Seung-jo. We know they're completely different. They look very different. And then the other demons we saw, they have differences in appearances as well. So we do know that there's just something very weird about the design of the demons and the way they're viewed, which makes me very curious. Like, so how does their shape come about? Why do they have this certain design? I mean, a lot of things I'm curious about. But that's about it. I'm going to leave it there. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.